Every day, people like you and me witness paranormal activity. Many people suffer alone, afraid of telling their stories. Their encounters remain locked away, like skeletons tapping lightly on a closet door. Join me, Blake Lewis, as we peel back the veil of our reality, searching through silence. Good evening, children of the night. This hellbound nightmare train continues to careen downhill at whiplash speeds towards our final destination. Next stop, we have to pull the bell string to alert the other passengers and conductor that we have to pause our eternal descent momentarily and refresh our minds with a much-needed stop on memory lane. Tonight, we revisit one unlucky passenger's encounter that is simply to die for. So gather your refreshments, grab your quilts of bravery, and huddle next to your campfires while we all think twice about the eyes in the attic. I'm normally not the one for talking about my story, and I only have one encounter that will probably stick with me until I grow old and wither away. I'm 42 years old, so there is time for me yet to have another experience, but I don't want to have another. I have suffered long enough from this one encounter that I don't believe I could deal with another. It's a sad feeling, being scared throughout the period that's supposed to be the quote-unquote best years of your life. I was 35 years old and struggling to get my life on track. Finding my place in this world felt nearly impossible, and I was struggling to find housing on my own. Luckily, one of my friends was staying at an old house in Parker, Pennsylvania. This was during the ice jam in 2014. She allowed me to stay with her until I could get myself on my feet, and I was so grateful to have someone extend a helping hand. Or so I believed at the moment. It wasn't more than 3 days that I began staying there, that I began having terrible nightmares. The same reoccurring nightmare, in fact. I'd be laying in bed with my eyes closed, and I would begin to hear long, creaking sounds, like the upper corner of the room was slowly coming apart. I would then see dust begin to fall through the air vent that resides in the same corner. As I would begin to get worked up, a frightening voice that I can only describe as an elderly woman would begin to call out to me. She would repeat my name in strange ways, slowly, then sporadically, like she was trying to get my heart and adrenaline to surge to crazy amounts. I would startle out of sleep and immediately fix my attention to the then eerily quiet corner. Not a sound. Nothing. Almost as if I was completely deaf. I would panic and always hold my nose and pop my ears until I could begin to hear the sound of having my hearing come back to me. I brought up the experience to my friend after the third night in a row of this happening, and she immediately sprang into a strange excitement. Me, being completely confused, asked why she was so happy. She explained to me that she had been staying at the house for 2 years and had similar experiences in her room, but they bled out into her waking life with voices asking her to feed this spirit. She told me that the voices had stopped ever since I moved in, and she could no longer see the eyes watching her from her closet. She told me she was only happy because the connection between my nightmares and her sudden normal nights proved that she wasn't going crazy, and there was something evil in that house. Every night became a terrible anxiety attack within my body, leading to my last night in that house. My nightmare hit right on schedule. My panic attack to a startling, waking, fighting through my deafening, silent awareness. But this time, things changed in my waking life. I could still hear her whispering, coming from the air vent. Completely broken at this point, I stormed out of the room and into the hallway where the door to the attic was located. I quickly pulled down the door and stood there quietly, listening to the echo of the springs fade to silence for a couple of minutes, and suddenly noticed my friend peeking through her cracked open door, staring at me. I don't know how long she was there staring at me, but she slowly closed her door, and the entire atmosphere shifted into waves of overwhelming anxiety as my attention turned back to the decrepit wooden stairwell into pure darkness. I slowly began to climb the steps, but every stair creaked louder than the last, like they were screaming for me to turn back. I slowly peeked my eyes into the tight attic crawl space, began to reach my arm for the small light drawstring, when all of a sudden, a swift sound of motion brought my eyes away from the string and onto the figure that was hunched over in the back of the attic, over top of my air vent. My eyes locked onto her glowing, cat-like orange eyes. She smiled at me, in a way showing her entire set of teeth, I was so frightened that I screamed different than I had ever before, and every muscle in my entire body fell limp, and I fell backward onto the lower portion of the stairs, smashing the stair set inward as I slammed onto the hallway floor, knocking the wind directly out of my body. I remember looking up to the attic opening and seeing her leaning over with her frightening grin. I turned over while fighting to breathe and began to crawl and climb to my feet, which was so difficult without being able to breathe. I stormed out of the front door and into my car, fumbled my keys, started the engine, and fled the town. I never returned. I never contacted my old friend, and can't imagine what continued to happen that night. I want my story to be told, but I don't want my real name attached to this episode thing in any way. My biggest fear is I might stir up activity in my own life again, and I would feel more safe if you would refer to me as Hector. Take care and keep your wits about you. Well, Hector, I completely understand. Sometimes it's in our best interest to stay anonymous because we feel deep inside that we are going to be ridiculed by others who just don't understand. Other people that no matter how much evidence you can put in front of them, they are going to deny any possibility of there being something out there that their brain can't comprehend. They have to have all the answers, and if they don't, then it merely doesn't exist. We're faced with these kind of people every day that we wake up, and a lot of the time, we just have to roll with the punches. But that's why I love this platform so much, because I'm able to sit here and put a voice to people who do not want to be ridiculed. And if that is your main fear and you're listening to this, but you want your story to be heard, send me your encounters and I will twist your stories into one of my webisodes so that you too can have a voice, even if you would like to remain silent in your real life. But until then, stay safe, sleep well, and keep your wits about you.